I'm happy, life's pretty good, but I feel really unsettled. Aren't I supposed to feel better than this? Right? Like I have all of these accomplishments. You want to see my trophy wall? I would show up in spaces and I had it all together all the time. Because I can't be vulnerable in this space. I think I'm so solid and I'm so strong and no one notices it, but yeah, it's there. It's literally right here and everyone sees it. You picked up on this, Christy, and you said to me, can you just be still for a little bit? Stop going from activity to activity to activity to activity to activity to drown out everything. That busyness, that I'm valuable because I'm busy. I've turned, and it sounds so simple, but I've turned a lot of the anxiety and the control stuff. Like I'm trying to control the future. I'm trying to know what's going to happen. I'm trying to guide myself to get to this one accomplishment. Christy, from where you met me to today, which is only 4 months ago, the stuff that has manifested is insanity, ladies. Insanity. I've been so blessed. I've received so many gifts.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. Welcome to the Pay Raise Playbook, where we assist you with getting to the next level personally and professionally by sharing insight with you so you can have the courage and clarity to stop avoiding the hard things and take the actions that scare you. While you're here, go ahead and like and subscribe to this podcast because I am sure you're going to love it. Let's go ahead and get started.
Welcome everyone to Money Loves Happy People. I'm your host, Christy Rutherford, and I get finer, Brooke, finer every time, every day. I look in the mirror, I be like, oh Lord. Okay. Yeah, for real. So if you are new to this podcast, welcome. If you have been here for us with a while or with us for a while, welcome back. What I would love for you to do is click subscribe to this podcast, like it, rate it, tell the world how much you love us. So great. So today I'm interviewing Brooke Cianfichi. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Great. I wrote it down. Okay. Brooke was once an executive vice president at the 11th largest bank in the United States. She was in the top 1% of a 22,000 person organization. Of course she was. With a title that helped her ego feel very, very good for a time. Before that, she was the chief operating officer of real estate private equity group of funds. But these titles didn't capture who she really is. Today, she is Brooke the entrepreneur, which still doesn't perfectly capture all of her bad ASS-ness. I made that up, Brooke. Perhaps she should label herself Brooke, the ladies whose purpose is to help women in commercial real estate. This purpose starts with her helping her own DAM self build a series of commercial real estate focused businesses. And as she walks down this path, others see her passion and want to understand how to live with that passion and purpose too. She is finding lots of allies and positivity. Brooke is a giver of empathy and understanding. She hopes you all love the path you choose and come into your power. Okay, Brooke, you just wrote that, huh? Because I know this wasn't your initial bio.
No, I just wrote that this morning for you.
Oh, okay, great. All right, Brooke shining already. So, Brooke, today we're going to be talking about how to feel good now. But a lot of times people think that it's a quick fix. It doesn't take that long, but it's not one magical hack. So you just completed the program. How long has it been? 4 months? It's been
about 4 months. Yep.
About 4 months. Okay, great. So it doesn't take that long to be happy and to rewrite your whole bio, because I know your other bio would have talked about like all of these external accolade things. And
all my accomplishments.
Yeah. I'm a magical happy unicorn, just, floating in New York with my sweater on. And, I'm not on the beach, but it's cold where I'm at, but I'm cool. So, Brooke, tell us, what was going on with you when you initially reached out to us over here at Vision Finder International? What was going on?
So, Christy, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. It is so nice to see you and to talk to some other fabulous people today. What was going on for me was, and this is really interesting because a lot of people have these moments. I'm different. A lot of people have these moments where like, I've had it. That wasn't me. Mine was actually really subtle. And it was this undercurrent for me of, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But Christy, I didn't even have words for it yet. It was just sort of this feeling of being unsettled, if that makes sense, under all the achievements. So what did I do? I said, I'm going to go get I'll take another class and I'll have another achievement. And that's going to make me feel good. But I was starting to recognize for myself that it wasn't feeling good. Like I deep down, I was starting to feel it. So when I reached out, I remember thinking, because I reached out to you and said, this is just really, the messaging is really resonating with me, but I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. I'm happy. I'm successful. I'm a genuinely positive person. I love life. I'm loving life, but there's something that's hitting me. You're hitting a chord. And I want to like peel it back because I'm curious. I'm one of those. I'm curious. I got to dig and figure out why am I feeling this way? So I actually listened to myself and I reached out cold, just reached out and said, I'm happy. Life's pretty good, but I feel really unsettled. Aren't I supposed to feel better than this? Right? Like I have all of these accomplishments. You want to see my trophy wall? You want to see all my degrees? I have all these great things, but there's something isn't feeling right. And that was when I jumped in, and I was not prepared, Christy. I was not prepared for what was about to happen to me at all. If I had known, I'm glad I did it now. But if I had known, I was like, oh no, this isn't just going to be me like setting some intentions for the year. This is not what this is. This is going to be an intense peeling of me to get me to see some of the things that I do that I think are helping me, but are actually hurting me a lot. Like the busy work. Let's be busy. Let's be super busy all day long. That's going to make me so happy. Like so actually peeling. If I knew what I know now, and I'm a work in progress. I'm on the other side though of the original awakening. So I'm glad I went the path. So I am beyond happy I went the path. But at the time, I don't think I knew what I was jumping into.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. Have you joined me on my mentorship community? And if not, what are you waiting for? According to a Bain study, 90% of women who got to the executive level had sponsors and mentors. And if you don't have a mentor, how do you expect to get to the next level? In this community, not only do I have my signature resume course and my course, 7 Keys to Getting the Raise, Bonus, or Promotion That You Desire and Deserve, I show up and answer your questions live. So if you want to get to the next level in your career, if you're ready to stop procrastinating and get things done, join us in this community. It's only $2.99 a month. Go to the link prpmentor.com or use the link on around this video. I can't wait to see you on the inside and answer your questions and get you to your next level of success. Take care.
So let's talk about it, which I love it. The thing about being successful for high achieving women who love to run through walls and kick open doors and shatter glass ceilings and get the awards and be the top this and the top that. I'm sure your I love me wall is like you can have 3 rooms of how great you are. No, it's good because that's the external thing, right? Like we're badass us and we're gonna beat the brace off of anything that we put our hands on. And so after we've checked a lot of boxes, Brooke, the challenge with highly successful women is we'd be like this. So is this it?
What do I do now? Yeah.
How many more boxes do I have to check? We're at a gazillion. And I'm discontent, but I should be happy, but I know I'm missing something. And that's when it's time to move from success, which is what we've been taught hierarchically, and now going to significance where we start to spread how great we are with more people and really step into the light of why we were born here. It's cool. This is why, and I actually wrote about it yesterday. I'll read it to you later. but of how we get stuck in this external achievement and external validation thing. And then we forget and lose sight of why we came here as spirit, right? Like we forget. And so you can have everything. You can have the house, you can have the car, you can have the husband, kids, and, you know, all the boxes and all the awards that they told us that we couldn't do. And we get it all. And then we're still not that happy. And the worst part about it, Brooke, is we can't tell anybody because nobody cares. And there's so much shame that goes along
We're
with
so ungrateful, Christy. You're so ungrateful for all that you have. Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? What I just shared?
So so I'm going to tie that to what I said about being so surprised, because I was so surprised when I came into this room and I saw a whole bunch of other women like me. Right? That was it. That was my moment of, wait, hold on a second. I'm not the only one, because I've got no one else to talk to. My background is very, I was sort of often, not always, but often one of the few women who was in the space. Physics, finance, econ, real estate. These things are going to isolate me, but this is the path I love. This is the path I chose. This is what excites me, are those spaces, those intellectual spaces. So I had not been in a room of all women just like me. And being able to sit across and say, hey, do you feel this too? Are you feeling this? And that was the first unlock, right? So I totally, like, I now see how isolating, I'm getting all these accomplishments. I have a wonderful family. I have wonderful stuff. But I'm not fulfilled, and I must be the most ungrateful human that ever walked the face of this earth. I'm so ungrateful. Oh, and now I'm attacking myself in not being fulfilled instead of listening to myself. And I think a big part of that was just not having a tribe. And I actually, I have to say this out loud. I've been blessed with fabulous women in my life for my entire life, but this was a different sort of feeling. This was a feeling of getting to a place that I had thought I always wanted, and then looking around and feeling alone and feeling not in alignment and just feeling. And no one around me did anything wrong. No one did anything to me. This was me, it's not quite right. So coming into the group and meeting those women who were feeling exactly the same way as me, for a lot of, I love when you say, we bougie, high-powered women, right? For a lot of women, there's sort of this sense of, I'm special, I'm amazing, I got to carry all this stuff on my own. And we kind of lose touch with that connection with other women who are experiencing similar things. So it's hard to look at it too. It's hard to look at it because you see them and then you see it in yourself, and it's challenging.
One, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and open, because I talk about this all the time, right? And I'm like, we can't tell anybody that we're not that happy with all the awards and the money and all the external things that we've achieved. And so, we look alike, Brooke. We both fine, but we look different. People think that we were looking at each other like, oh, she has it all together. You don't know that we're both successful, but we have some stuff going on that we can't really tell anybody about. Yeah. And I think then the self-defeat, that's the worst thing that happens when it turns into self-doubt and self-condemnation, and then the guilt and shame of not being that happy with everything that we have and what they say we couldn't get. And that's where a lot of women implode. I always talk, we implode mentally here first. And there's nobody, I can't say this any other different. I'm like, I don't sugarcoat. If I start stuttering, it's because I'm trying to find a way to sugarcoat. The thing about high achieving women, we don't listen to weak people. So other people are telling us how we should feel, and we're like this. Yeah, that ain't working. Not for me. But once we see other women who are like us, equally yoked per se, who have the same challenge, you'd be like, my God, I thought I was by myself. And there's so much power and relief in that, where it's, I wrote down like a mirror, one, acknowledging that how you feel is actually true and having other people validate it. There's so much power in that. What are your thoughts on that?
So there's a trick, Christy, to that, which is an unmasking. You have to be willing to unmask to have that mirror on you. And that was the thing that I was missing in my old life. I would show up in spaces and I had it all together all the time. Because I can't be vulnerable in this space. So behind closed doors, sometimes I'm vulnerable. I'll let a little eke out. Can I unmask a tiny bit and share? And then often, not always, sometimes I'd find a kindred and we could unmask a little bit with each other. But more often than not, the risk I was taking in the unmasking was a huge risk to me, right? It was me bringing my wall down. And so the unmasking process, which is effectively what you're doing, is you're saying, y'all are in a room together now and you're all unmasking. and that gave me more comfort, and I could be in my power and I could talk about what was really happening for me. It was judgment-free zone. I mean, yeah, did some people sometimes come in and they're like, okay, right, because we all have our egos. We all have our masks. We have our, well, I attained a higher power level than you did. Everyone has a little bit of that. And the sooner you can see the humanity in all the people around you and take that mask off and say, hey, let's just get real. Let's just get real. And what you've done, Christy, with the group is you figured out how to help people along in that unmasking a lot faster. Because you cracked a New Yorker. So let me say that again. You cracked a New Yorker. We don't go down easy. Our walls are so high, it might take most people 5 years to climb them. That's the what we've built up, the armor that we've built up to make sure our ego stays protected. And so that unmasking was me being really vulnerable in a space where I knew I could be really vulnerable. And it helped me bring that wall down.
Well, I think a part of us being vulnerable is, one, we're paranoid that they're going to get us. Even though we say we don't think they're going to get us, we be like this. We know they're out to get you. It is what it is. And we don't want people to weaponize our weakness. Like, we're never, ever, 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 ever going to show weakness. Vulnerability is weakness. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? I thought it was my okay, that's my Wi-Fi. Okay, great. I'll go downstairs. I'll move from my setup and I'll quickly go downstairs. Okay, great. So it's exhausting walking around with all of the stuff and the mask after a while. Like, we can do that in our 20s, and 25 is, we hit 30 is a little bit tiring, 37, but after that it's exhausting, because you said I cracked a New Yorker. Well, there's a lot of sisters who be like, you cracked, like, Black women we're taught to like carry everything and be strong, but y'all have the same challenges too. So we're not so different, and that's what I love about when you're in the group of other women, because you got women and then you got us, and there's commonality amongst this different tribe of women that I'm just looking for specifically, because we are the generational curse breakers. We are the generational pattern breakers who came forth to be great. And we have jobs and we love them, but still we're not content because we know there's more. So what was your experience with the other women in the room, and what was shocking as you started to, I guess, unmask yourself, and what was going on? What was shocking was the burdens that some were carrying, right? That was shocking to me. When we began to unmask and we began to talk about the thoughts and the memories that were still holding us, right? They think we're really accomplished women. Yet in 2 seconds,
we can flip ourselves to a moment when we were 6 years old and we can get stuck there. And so to be in this space with these incredibly powerful women who are beginning to unmask and say, and I still can't get over X, this trauma, this issue, this thing, I'm holding it, I'm holding it, I'm holding it, I'm holding it. And I'm waiting for something to happen. I don't know what's supposed to happen, but I'm going to keep carrying this damn pack on my back of anger, and I'm waiting. And then when they open up, when we all open up and we start we start telling our stories, and these stories, the stories we tell about ourselves, when you're watching the other women, you're like, I tell that story too. I know that one. Huh. Yeah, I got that one. Right. And so this unmasking is also, are you ready? You said it really well about the mirror. Are you ready to see the stories you're telling about yourself that you're carrying around, that you're not letting go of? Are you ready to do that work? That for me, I was like, oh, wow, she's carrying a heavy burden, and that story sounds just like my story. And I'm carrying this thing. I'm carrying this resentment. I'm carrying this moment in time that I've just never let go of, and I've never forgiven. I've never moved past. I think I'm so solid and I'm so strong and no one notices it, but yeah, it's there. It's literally right here and everyone sees it. And then when I go to tell my story, they hear that. And I think I've done a great job at covering it. So it's like the mask starts to come away, you begin to offer, and everybody connects because they're like, oh, I know that story. I got that one. It was amazing. It was, if you let yourself go into it, it was a beautiful connection. If you denied it, you were continuing to hold yourself away from the thing you don't want to touch, right?
Yeah, well, Raquel was your coach, so I know y'all got beat in the head, so it wasn't.
It was great.
Yeah.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. I hope that you are enjoying this podcast as much as we loved putting it together for you to share insight to make your life better. Now, did you get your copy of my resume course, How to Use the Superpower Method to Write an Irresistible Resume to Land You a High-Paying Job? Look, even if you have somebody write your resume for you, how do you know whether or not it sucks? And did you give them the information to be able to write a great resume, or did you hope that they were going to spend gold out of something that you gave them that wasn't that good? So get this course, not just to write your own resume, but to be able to provide resume writers with what they need to adequately tell your story so you can get paid the money that you desire and deserve. So go ahead and click on the link on around this video. Get this course, use it, and get paid what you deserve. It's less than $50. I mean, come on, just get the course and use it. See you soon.
So, we talked about the group. I do want to shift a little bit, but talk to us about, because I have a lot of women who want me one-on-one. I'll be like, y'all don't want me one-on-one, first of all, because I don't have the patience for it. I like y'all though. And so we talked about the power of the group, but it's a lot of women who be like, well, Christy, you're the draw. And I'm like, we have a system here. Like, my coaches were my former clients who are amazing. What was your experience with Raquel?
Raquel was amazing. And that's no offense to you, Christy. I understand why folks want you. I get it. You're the draw. You're the beacon. You're the light. You're the lighthouse, right? And what I think that everyone needs to understand is you have built other beacons. And just like you as women, we all as women want folks to look at us in non-judgment. You got to be open to the fact that there can be somebody else who can also pull something out of you, right? You got to be willing to see that. And so my experience with Raquel, I remember coming on the first call and I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I'm not really sure what this is all about. I've done some of the asynchronous work and I think I got my mind on straight. What's going to happen? And so Raquel is another beacon of light. She's a lighthouse. She's a giver. She tries to figure out how to give in and help pull stuff out of you, and she does it beautifully. And I think on the first and second call, I was like, just goo, right? Because she does a really fantastic job of that. And when I say goo, I mean it in the most beautiful way, which is I let go. I pulled the mask. I let go. I said, here's some of the things that I'm struggling with. I'm going to say them out loud to all of you strangers I have just met, but we're all here for the same reason. And I'm really hopeful you guys are going to tread lightly around some of the things I'm about to say. But what I think you've done, Christy, with all the coaches who are helping us all through, is you've created the environment where, and I want to actually compare it to therapy, because this was really interesting to me, because many of us, many women, especially high achieving women, we've been through therapy. I go into talk therapy and I talk about my problems and I keep going and I keep talking and I keep talking. And I've just complained for like 10 years about the same thing, and nothing got resolved. I just talked. And the difference in what you're doing is no. We're going to get past that. We're going to hit it head on. We're going to figure out what is compelling you. What is the stuff that you're holding? The complaining, the stories, the victimhood that just keeps swirling. And we're going to help you see it and like let go of that, because you are your own worst enemy. You're sitting yourself in it. Raquel does an amazing job of just sort of shining the mirror and saying, you're doing this to yourself. Oh, it hurts so hard. Like, it hurts so much when someone says that to you. You know that this is a story you made up that you're carrying now forever. Look at it. Look at your story. You're hoping that the world's going to just come save you. It's your story. Let it go. What's wrong? Let it go. And she does it in a very gentle and loving but persistent manner. That was my experience with Raquel. She doesn't let you off the hook until you have stared it in the face and you've helped let it go. And the other women are watching and they're like, I'm paying witness to your metamorphosis. I am watching you transform. Chrissy, if I could share, and it's not my story to share, so I'm not going to share any specifics because that's not right. But what I do want to say is we were witness in our cohort to a woman who had carried some tremendous trauma with her. Tremendous. We were witness to her actually getting through the moment of releasing some of that trauma. I was a basket case. I don't think it was that deep from the bottom of your soul sadness, because you're watching this other person take all that negative trauma and set it out of them. I paid witness to that with Raquel. And that was the power of, no offense to you, Christy, you're great, but it's really nice to be in a room with these other women, because you can't, that one-on-one hot seat is just you trying to selfishly explain to somebody else your story, right? But when you open it up and you put it in the context of all these others, you see the reflection back of the story. Can't hide from it anymore.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. Have you joined me on my mentorship community? And if not, what are you waiting for? According to a Bain study, 90% of women who got to the executive level had sponsors and mentors. And if you don't have a mentor, how do you expect to get to the next level? In this community, not only do I have my signature resume course and my course, 7 Keys to Getting the Raise, Bonus, or Promotion That You Desire and Deserve, I show up and answer your questions live. So if you want to get to the next level in your career, if you're ready to stop procrastinating and get things done, join us in this community. It's only $2.99 a month. Go to the link prpmentor.com or use the link on around this video. I can't wait to see you on the inside and answer your questions and get you to your next level of success. Take care.
I be telling people, y'all don't need me. Stop playing. We're good. We're good over here. We have a system over here. We have amazing women who work with us, and they were former clients. So it's women who are free can now lead you to what they are. We're not teaching what we're not, right? It's not even like what we're not doing, and a challenge that some women who come and are like, oh, Christy, I've done this already and I've been coached. And I'm like, yeah, but you've learned from people who are telling you what to do. We're just trying to show you what you're doing. There's a difference between me and you were like, oh, am I going to do? No, we're not doing anything. We're helping you release what you've been dragging around for years that's no longer serving you. So that's how we're different. And you talked about the therapy. I had 3 therapists before I left the Coast Guard. And you know, we would be sitting there and I'd be talking.
Yeah.
And after an hour, I done dug up 3 skeletons and they'd be like, okay, we're done. I'm like, hold up. Because I
Good
got
job.
Marty, Ricky, and Mike sitting beside me, right?
Yeah, now I'm stuck with this.
Right? I'm dancing in a Thriller video with these dudes, you know. So the next week we're gonna dig up 3 more, and I'm like, hold up, I want a bitch now dancing in the Thriller video. When are we gonna talk about what we're gonna do? And the difference, some people like to sit around and talk about their stuff for 10 years. High achieving women are like, man, I want to get through this and let's get on top of this thing so I can go to conquer my next mountain. Right? You're like, this is slowing me down. So don't make me look at what I've been dragging around and finally admit to it, which we'll never do. And now that I finally confess, because by the time we get to therapy, we already crazy, because we don't want to do it, and we don't want to stop, and we don't want to look in the mirror, and we don't want to be vulnerable, and we don't want to tell anybody anything. So we don't walk into a therapist's office. We like crawl in there, you know, like this is our absolute last resort. We don't want to do yoga. We don't want to meditate. It's too much until we're like so on fire that we can't take it anymore. You be like, all right, fine, I'll walk in here. And anyway, let me get off that. So, because I don't want the therapist to come for me. So let's talk about what advice do you have for women who are, you know, control freaks? I ain't gonna call it control freaks, but you know, high achieving women who just, you know, it's how to feel good now. So we talked about looking in the mirror. What's one thing that you did or one habit that you've created in your life that allows you to feel better?
I love that question. I think that, and I have to say, there's a lot of little things that I do today. But the one thing that has helped me more than anything was, and you picked up on this, Christy, in one of the group sessions, and you said to me, can you just be still for a little bit? Stop going from activity to activity to activity to activity to activity to drown out everything, you know, that busyness, that I'm valuable because I'm busy. Can you just stop it for a little bit? And so the one thing that I've learned is to be really present. And it sounds so simple, but it's really hard, right? So it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything all day. I can be doing lots of different things, but I'm noticing how I feel, almost like I'm looking in and saying, oh, wow, this is, without judgment. It's not like this is, oh, I hate doing this. This is terrible. I got to fill this form out. How can I, in the moment where I'm filling out that form, which I have to do, I have no control, my friends, I got to fill the form out. How can I surrender? How can I just fill my form out? Maybe, oh, wow, notice how I write my signature. It's kind of neat. I've never really noticed that. Or just, and it's, a lot of people are like, wow, she's gone nuts. No. This is the key. I finally figured out the key to life is enjoying this moment. You talked about the now, right? The title is now. So the key to really loving life, being at peace in yourself, being at peace with your choices, being at peace with everything is knowing the past is totally gone. There's nothing you can do about it. It's gone. The future, you have no idea what's going to happen. So you literally only have this second. So how do I just go deep in the moment that I'm living in? And how do I appreciate all, like, I am one of those people now, Christy, oh my gosh, it's New York City, mind you. No one has time on the streets of New York for someone looking around at the sky. No one's got time for that here, okay? But I know this. I've lived here for a really long time. So I know that I got to keep my pace. I can't just like la 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 and stare at the clouds. But I can when I'm standing on that corner and the light is red and I'm waiting to cross, I can take a breath. I can notice little things. I can say, oh, wow, they painted that building. Oh, that's it. Like I'm just taking stock and appreciating and being grateful. I am being grateful of what? The fact that I woke up this morning, I'm still breathing. I'm really grateful. That's great. The fact that I can go to the gym if I want to. I can go to the gym if I can go to the gym. I feel good. I can go to the gym. I'm so grateful. I've turned, and it sounds so simple, but I've turned a lot of the anxiety and the control stuff. Like I'm trying to control the future. I'm trying to know what's going to happen. I'm trying to guide myself to get to this one accomplishment. I've actually paused all of that. I've paused that and I've said, I'll get there. I'll get there. No big deal. What am I doing right now? What's happening right now? Am I giving my best right now? Am I doing all the things that I can do right now? Am I giving Christy what I want back? Am I giving kindness? Am I giving respect? Am I giving all the things I want? So I've actually spent through the program and then continue to kind of go deeper into it. Now, what type of person am I right now? What type of person do I want to be right now? How do I want to show up? How do I want to appreciate what I have? How do I want to be grateful? And then how do I want to let go of the future stuff and all of the anxiety around where I'm going? Oh my God, am I going to get there fast enough? Let it go. That's helped me.
I just wrote something down. I was like, oh, that was good. That's going to be a book. I wrote, depression is rehearsing a past you cannot change. Anxiety is having panic of a future you cannot see.
Yes, it's so true. And Christy, that was the gift. That was the ultimate gift that I received. And I'm sure the other women in the cohort had different gifts that they received. And I say that as a gift. It was a gift. It was a gift of presence. It was a gift of identifying that which I cannot change and stopping some of the stories that were creating anxiety for me. I am the only one who could stop the stories. No one was going to show up to stop them for me. No one. We can start singing now. Let's do it. Come on, let's get in. You know I'm fun. We'll get right down. Put some music on. Let's do this. So the stories that I was telling myself, and they were still stories. So think of it this way. There was this moment as I'm watching these transformations of these other beautiful women, all beautiful, all powerful, all kind, all glorious. I'm watching their transformations. There was this moment where I said, the story that I'm carrying around is like 30 years old. Why am I carrying this? Here, let me just put it there. It's nice to see you. But why am I actually carrying it? Oh, what was me? Oh, I was wronged once. What? I'm doing it to me. No one's doing it to me anymore. It's 30 years ago. That person, I don't even know where that person lives. I know nothing. So that was eye-opening. And then forgiving, regardless of what happens on the other side, I forgive for me, not for the person who did it to me. I forgive for me. That was eye-opening for me. So there were these cascading. It was just like this. I was hit. Boom. Oh, I got hit again. Boom. Oh my God, here comes another one. I can't take it anymore. Literally. There was a moment in the journey where I was like, I gotta give myself a lot of grace because this is a lot of pain. It's shedding all of these layers of anxiety for the future, your past that you're carrying around, not forgiving people, just shedding that. And as you're going through it, you can feel quite isolated too. That was the other thing, because you're going through this process for yourself. It can feel a little isolating too.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. I want to tell you about my resume course, How to Use the Superpower Method to Write an Irresistible Resume to Land You a High-Paying Job. If you can't figure out why you can't get to the next level, if you think that there are barriers to your success, that's not it. If you haven't learned how to adequately take credit for the work that you've done, if you don't know how to articulate it and even give it to a resume writer that you've paid $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to, if you haven't given them the right information, then how can they output something that is of quality and value? So go ahead, get this course. It's less than $50. get the information, use it, and write an irresistible resume that will get you the salary that you deserve today. So click on the link on around this video or go to thesuperpowermethod.com. Get it, use it, get paid what you deserve today.
So what's funny is you're talking because I've done it. This is why we're here. This is how it took me 3.5 years to go through this. I've just taught y'all how to do it in 8 weeks. It's not that hard. It's a system, and it's a secret recipe. It's a secret sauce. I mean, I would love to be able to explain it to people, but you're a result of the information. So it's one thing to be like, let me show you how to do it, or let me just show you how it's already done. Like you're a result of the information of when you talk about the things that are cascading. It's not you're overwhelmed because you're doing so much. You're overwhelmed because you're seeing how you're creating the SHIT show of your life. And you're like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing that. Okay, great, right? You know my thing. Let's start there. Because you can't change what you don't know you're doing. Like you have all the control and you have full power. So you have all these women walking around feeling like victims and powerless. And I'm like, no, you have all the power, you have all the cards, but
it's literally right here.
Right? And then you're like, wait, I've been holding on to that thing for 30 years. Okay, great. Let me let that go. And now you rise into, a different energy level where now you can see clearer, in the future because you just let go of what you've been dragging around. And so the cascading and the overwhelm. I was on a call last Monday and somebody was like, am I supposed to be overwhelmed? I'm like, all I'm doing is showing you what the life that you're actually living and how you're creating it. So we're not overwhelmed from doing, we're overwhelmed from awareness. And now it's like, okay, great. Now that we know the truth, because we've been lying to ourselves, lying to everybody else, and you have no idea because we're busy, Brooke. Let's be clear. We're busy and we ain't got time to be stopping looking in the mirror, and we're not going to own our stuff. So once you actually see it, there's so much now power, week 4, week 3, 4, you'd be like, let me change that. Because what's not going to happen now that I see it, we've proven that we're doers of success based on the I love you all and all the degrees that we have. Yeah. Now, instead of me learning another skill or another certification or whatever we like to do, because we some nerds and we love to do other stuff, let me now look at myself and now work just as hard to clear the clutter of myself that I was studying for, whatever the artificial intelligence certification on LinkedIn or something.
So there was a point, and I want to share this because I think this dovetails nicely. There was a point, and I don't remember what reading, I don't remember what week, but there was a moment of, and this one hit me really hard. It was, some of us like to be miserable. We're holding so tight to these, and we'll never admit that to ourselves. I hate being miserable. It's terrible. I hate it. But the minute we relieve ourselves from it, we're like, no, wait, hold on. That's the only story I know. Bring it back. That's my story. Right. And so that was like, oh. So when I go, and Christy, you say this all the time, which I love. It's like when I go and I'm having drinks and I'm with my girlfriends and we're complaining, and then there's like this big old ball of complaining that we're just creating. Our egos are loving it. We're loving this. We're sharing complaints. It's just an amazing moment of egotistical power. And then you leave and you're like, why do I feel so terrible still? And then you continue to do it because you're like, maybe if I go deeper into being angry and more complaining, I'll feel better. No, the deeper you go, the worse you will feel. It's like self-fulfilling, right? So you just keep going into this angry spiral, waiting for the universe to magically show up and make it totally different. You don't really want it to be different, do you? No, that's all you know. You know that story. So to go from that story to a different story for yourself is literally like completely taking a giant ship and like trying to turn it while it's moving. And that's the pain. When you say you got to do the work is, what stories are you really in love with? What stories do you really like? You don't want to let go of that. Come on, let's not pretend you are real, oh no, I want to release that story. No, if you wanted to release that story, you would do the work to see in that you're holding on to a story, that you're making yourself feel disempowered. You're making yourself feel others are out to get me. The universe is not out to get you. No one's out to get you. Right. And so that was that, like, for me, I'm sorry, I hope other people are laughing at this, because this was like, I had these moments of, do I actually like telling myself this story? And then you look in and you're like, I got to be vulnerable. I got to be real. Am I enjoying this story? And then once you're like, actually, it's really hurtful and it hurts me, this story. The story's not a story I need to be telling. Then you have to do more work, which is, well, how do I extract myself? Because everyone I'm interacting with is telling these stories. And I gotta get to that. So here's this group telling that story, but I want to get to that group. That's the group that's not telling the story. That's going to be a journey. I got a journey. I got to change myself. I have to begin to give out of my body what I want back. And I got to take that journey. That blew the roof off of my entire understanding of how I was showing up. That was it. Was like, am I showing up the right way? But I had to go through this process of being able to look in, and do I really like this story? Everyone on this call is going to say, I want my life to be more peaceful. Everyone. Are you peaceful?
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. Wanted to see if you have already joined us in my mentorship community. If not, I'm not sure what else to do, and what are you waiting for? If you're tired of being stuck and overwhelmed, if you're tired of going in circles, if you can't figure out how to get to the next level despite the gazillion degrees that you have and the 15 to 20 years experience that you're walking around with, the untapped, unmonetized intellectual property, it's time to do something different. So get off the fence. Join us in this community. Allow me to mentor you and hold you accountable to the things that you say that you want in your life. Join us in this community. Use the information. Get your money. It's not that hard. $15 million in salary raises since 2020 in some of the toughest economic times. People are winning. Why not you?
I can interview you for 24 hours. Maybe we're going to do a marathon because you got me cracking up.
Sorry.
So Neville Goddard said, if you have a secret affection for your conflicts, you cannot be helped. But what women don't know is that we don't know we have a secret affection until somebody challenges you and tells you that it could be better. You're like, but who will I be on the other side of this? I remember one of my clients a couple of years ago, once she let a lot of the stuff go, she had a lot of anxiety. And she said, Christy, I went for a walk and I was missing something. She's like, so I'm looking for it. And I'm like, what am I missing? Because she went for a walk like all the time. And she's like, I don't have something with me. And then she said, oh, I no longer have my anxiety. She was wearing it like a coat. Like, it was so heavy on her. And she walked around with it cozy and warm, and it was heavy. And when she didn't have it, she legit stood and like had to think for 15, 20 minutes. What am I like? I don't have something with me. I'm missing something. And she's like, it's my anxiety. I was hollering, like, go ahead.
She was carrying it. She was literally like a black trash bag.
Yeah.
She was dragging it.
For years that when she didn't have it anymore, happiness for a lot of high achieving women is terrifying. And I talk to women all the time and they're like, I just want a better job. And I'm like, but you don't want to be happy too? We don't get the money. The money's easy. You being happy is the real goal, because if you can become happy, money loves happy people, you can get the money. And then that is for them is so far out of reach that they can't believe for that they can believe for a better job, better than more than a better life or a better quality of life. Go ahead.
You said, so this is, I love this conversation. And the reason I love this conversation so much, Christy, is because we are so attached to the accolade, the accomplishment, the material thing, the title. These are all these like physical things. They don't, in your mind, you're like, it's not physical, I'm not holding it. But like, yeah, it's basically a physical thing. You're holding on to this like thing. But yet, if someone says to us, the key to your life being great is to actually, it's not any of those physical things. It's none of that. It's actually you being you and being comfortable in you. And then the rest comes from that. All the high achieving women in the room, I was once one of them, is like, come on, come on. No, I'm just going to keep climbing the ladder. No, I'm going to keep getting my accomplishments. I'm going to keep, but every time, so here's the proof. This is the proof. Every single time you get to the next spot, you're still unsatiated. Every single spot, every time I can't even begin to tell you, I have friends and they buy these houses and then they're like 2 years later, I want a bigger house. I'm sorry I'm using that voice. That's my silly voice. I apologize. I hope it doesn't offend anybody. It's just me, like,
that's, I have a voice too. So go ahead. Use your voice.
Silly voice, like, the complaining voice, the I'm not satisfied, but I don't know why. I just bought this big house. And you're like, because you're not grateful. Like, let's be grateful in your life. Be grateful that you breathe. Be great. But and people are like, that's so simple and it's so silly and it's so tiny. But I'm like, but why aren't more people doing it? Because as you do it, life opens. Life opens. It's like a flower. Life will just literally opens up. I am proof. Ladies, I am proof. Life opened for me as soon as I stopped chasing junk. Chasing the next degree, chasing the next this, chasing the next. And I chased a lot of different things. And then I finally just was. I just sat with me. I just became me. Yeah. And it's, and okay. And then here's for all the people who are not spiritual at all. They're like, no, that can't work. Right? Because you've been taught to be logical and conceptual and intellectual. I am as an intellectual as anybody on this line. I can intellect the pants off of anyone who wants to intellect with me. But what I've learned is it's a lot of stuff kind of swirling around up in your head, but it's not satisfaction. It doesn't give you satisfaction, right? The next goal. I still have goals, everyone. I've got lots of goals, but I have learned that they must come from my purpose. They have to come from something. They can't just be, I'm trying to get that goal because I'm trying to cover for all the fact that I've got all this baggage I'm carrying around.
And I think a part of it, Brooke, is, it's the goals that we have aren't our goals. They're goals that people told us what we should get that would make us happy, or we're trying to check the next box of what the thoughts and the experiences that were placed in us, from our parents or from our experiences or from school or from, now the circle of friends of who can have the biggest house and who can have the nicest car. And you're so miserable because it's not coming from who you are and why you came here, your inner being. So when you talked about life open for you, I tell women all the time, purpose is that you don't find your purpose. You ain't got to look for it outside of you. It's in you. You came here with it. The size of a mustard seed, because I like to quote scripture, but it's like you came here with it. So when it opened for you, you're like, my God, but you had to let some stuff go to be able to see who had been there all along, like waiting for you to reconnect. So the two or more people that shall touch and agree on this earth are you and you, your inner being and your physical being. And we're so disconnected, going back to what you talked about of walking down the street. As a New Yorker, you got to keep your pace. Because now that you're in your body and you've connected with yourself, right? Your higher self, your spiritual self, who's been there, you're just disconnected through time and experiences. You're marveling at the bird. And you're a New Yorker, right? You're like, oh my God, you see the blue jay? And they're like, wait, what? Get out of the way, because we're always going to like something different. And when we talk about how to feel good now, we don't feel anything because we're always doing and we're on to the next, and we don't marvel at, oh, they painted that building blue. Look, I used to look at the full moon. I'm like, man, have the moons always been this big? Because I'm tripping. Because I was always at work when the sun, before the sun came up. And then when the full moon, I never looked at the full moon or the clouds. I'm looking at the clouds and I'm like, oh my God, have they always been this beautiful? Because I never stopped long enough to notice, because I was always had my head down thinking about the next thing to achieve.
And we have so much more to give, right? When we're noticing the world in that way than just going task to task to task to task to task. And I have no choice. I have to do all these tasks. No, you do have a choice. We all have choices, right? So one of the things that I found myself sometimes doing, these are some of the excuses that you make, right? I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't, I can't, I shouldn't, right? We have a talk track in our brains. And I think it was early on in the program, if I remember properly, sort of like the affirmations and can you flip the talk track instead of saying I can't, I'm too busy, I don't have enough money, I don't have this, I don't have that. Can you flip that into I'm figuring it out, I'm doing it. But even more so than that, the like willingness and the being positive and trying to figure out how to make things happen for yourself is giving yourself the time to notice things, because then you become a better giver. You are more valuable to everybody else around you the more you can give. So when you're spending time staring at the moon, I'm spending time staring at the buildings around me in New York, noticing the little details and all this little stuff. And some might say, but you're not accomplishing these 80 tasks when you're doing it. No, but I'm bringing forth something even greater. It's not me being taskmaster, Brooke. It's me being creator and you being creator.
Let's talk about your purpose, right? What was revealed? So did you know it before and then you didn't own it, or did you not see it and then you saw it and then owned it? So what was that, what's been that process for you?
I knew it and I covered it and I covered it and I covered it. When I say knew it, I didn't have words for it, but I knew. And how I knew is really funny. You know how you leave little breadcrumbs for yourself and you're not yet aware, but you're leaving the breadcrumbs. So I had bought a few domain names for myself, all in the same theme. And the theme of the domain names was around women in commercial real estate. Every single one of the domain names. I bought them starting in 2013. Just my soul bought them. And I'm like, Brooke, you're being uber spiritual. No, I'm telling you, I was leaving breadcrumbs for myself that this was important to me, but I didn't know what to do with it. And it just felt right. Isn't that weird? It felt right, but I wasn't yet in touch with why that felt good. I wasn't intuitive, but it was there. And so what the program helped me do was so journaling. I was a terrible journaler. Why? Because sometimes when you journal, stuff falls out of your head and you can't stick it back in. It's really scary. It's scary, right? When you're used to being very controlled, when you journal and stuff starts flowing, you freak yourself out at times. So I was a hesitant journaler, truly corporate type, very hesitant journaler. And so you got to write this down, Brooke. Don't type it, write it down, take a pen. So I'm writing. And one of the questions I think for one of the homeworks was something along, not to scare everyone, the homework's not scary, don't worry. But one of the questions was basically, going through a couple of steps. And at the end of the questioning, I'm like, my life's purpose is this. And it fell out of my brain onto a piece of paper because I had always resisted journaling. And it's like, oh, your life's purpose is to help women. That is your purpose. And you have a specific skill. Your specific skill is commercial real estate. So put them together. That's your purpose. You've got the skill and you're going to help women. And that's what you're going to do. And it was like, that's what I've been resisting. That's a beautiful purpose. Why am I resistant to this? Because to your point, the stories, this was the expectation. These were the expectations I put on myself. This is what my upbringing was. I can't do that. That's throwing all caution to the wind. No. It was actually me finding my purpose, and now I can be in alignment with what I want to be. And so it came to me, And I set up a company, Legacy, and I am in the process of building that, starting with the first leg of the stool, which is an underwriting concept. And I'm working on some real estate development, and I'm working on I'm doing a lot of different things in this space, all real estate, all women focused. I love men. I'm going on the record to say I love men. They're amazing, but I know that my purpose, you too, I love men. So sometimes people will be like, oh, Brooke, your purpose, you are being selfish to the men. And I'm like, it's the same story. I have to say this out loud. It drives me bonkers. When someone gets a compliment and the person standing next to them is like, what about me? It's that same. I'm like, no, guys, you have to let the compliment be and not be the person witnessing the compliment and then saying, but what about me? Because that's a fixed pie mentality. There's enough abundance to go around for everyone. My purpose is to help women. Men are doing great too. And there's someone else who's going to focus on that, but I'm going to focus on this.
Ooh, we got to bring you back in 4 months. You got me cracking up. I mean, maybe 6, because I'm gonna track your progress anyway, because you watch it. Yeah. But so what advice do you have for women who are considering working with us over here at Vision Finder International? What advice do you have for them?
My advice is you're going to come up with every excuse as to why the timing's not right or why it's not going to, I can't fit it in. I want you to find the awareness for yourself, just a little exercise. Where is that coming from? Why are you saying that to yourself? And is there something underneath those words that it doesn't feel right when you're trying to talk yourself out of it? When you're in the act of talking yourself out of it, is there something in your soul and your being that's saying, oh, this is right for you? Try to find your intuition in that moment, because truly I overrode for myself, because here I am. Oh, I'm a mom. I'm a corporate exec. You name it. I can come up with a reason why it won't work. Why the timing won't work. I can come up with 800 reasons why it won't work in rapid succession, which is me talking myself out of things. And instead, what I did was I said, let me just get a little bit more intuitive and say, is this the right thing for me to do right now? And it's going to work out. The rest will work itself out. And it did. And I'm glad I did it. I'm glad, because my life, Christy, from where you met me to today, which is only 4 months ago, the stuff that has manifested is insanity, ladies. Insanity. I've been so blessed. I've received so many gifts because I've been giving and putting in. So I urge you to think about the excuses you're coming up with. Just think about it. That's all. And maybe go deeper and figure out how to make it work.
Well, I appreciate you, Brooke, because I say this all the time. People don't believe me. So the reason why I interview my clients is y'all, like, you're proof that, you can be different. The reason why I do this podcast, point blank period, is because I want women to know your life can be completely different, and it doesn't take that long. I want you to know that you don't have to walk around miserable, that you can have your purpose revealed, that you can have peace and you can have joy and get the money. Let's be clear. It ain't all about the money, but we're going to get the money. It's easy. And a part of it, Brooke, I love the last thing that you said was the stuff that's coming. So now you get overwhelmed with opportunity because we've planted all the seeds. We've never stopped to turn around and reap the harvest. So once you stop long enough and then you get into alignment with who you are, everything that you want starts to come so fast because you've been waiting for you to reconnect. Now let's get to work on what's going to make you passionate and want to get out of the bed every morning and just go crush it and actually be happy and passionate about what you're working on. So what are your final thoughts? Thank you so much.
My final thoughts are this can happen on whatever path you're on. So that's the other thing I want to say, because I think that's really important is, Christy, your mantra is, helping folks get raises. I didn't join originally because that was what I was looking for. I joined because I just loved the energy and I loved the theme. I'm saying this out loud. That wasn't why. because I ultimately became an entrepreneur, right? So like but I found my purpose, and that's what I decided to do. What I want to make sure is really clear to everybody on the call is that your path is your path. Your path is your path. And so if your path is entrepreneurship, awesome. If your path is to be the absolute best, most amazing, badass executive at X company, that's your path. That's an amazing path too. So I think it's just, I find nowadays, especially Christy, sometimes people are like, are we all supposed to be entrepreneurs? No, we don't have to. We don't have to do that. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so it's perfectly acceptable and amazing and wonderful to know exactly what path is the best path for you, and then be happy and fulfilled in your purpose in the path that you're on. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't be envious of others' paths. Be on your own path, whatever that is, and love it, whatever that is.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am. Don't hang up. All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. Talk to y'all soon. See y'all soon. Don't forget to subscribe, like. I never say this commercial at the end. Subscribe, like, leave a review, do all the things. But Brooke, thank you so much for showing up. And just remember that you can feel good right now just by taking some of the insight that Brooke has shared today. Peace out, y'all. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Your support is greatly appreciated. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. What I want you to ponder on this week: what is your greatest takeaway from this episode, and what is one action you're going to take to change your life for the better? Lastly, get your pay gap calculator to see how your pay compares to the market value of what others are getting paid. Text pay gap, all one word, to 66866. Again, pay gap to 66866, or use the link below this video or podcast. Get this insight, use it, and get paid what you desire and deserve. See you in the next episode.